My name is Katerina Papakota and I work as a career counselor at Aristotle University of Thessaloniki. Hiring and managing interns can be quite an exciting opportunity for startup founders. Indeed, who could resist hiring a team of talented and productive young students that can do all the dirty work, while startup founders can remain focused on their strategy. However, the problem is that many startups don't have so much experience of hiring and managing interns. Therefore, this process can be more time-consuming and less profitable than they thought it might be. Therefore, I would share with you some good practices and advices on how this process can be profitable for both sides. So, therefore, let's start with the job ad. How can you grasp the interest of the students? Hiring interns is different in hiring in a startup than hiring in a big company. Students want to start their careers and get hands-on experience in different aspects of their professions. So to even consider of thinking to go in a startups, they would like to see in your ad what is in it for them. Why should I consider even working for you? Therefore, if in your job description you need to tell and sell the cool and world-changing stuff and aspects they will be working on, in addition to usual internship tasks, in order to grasp the interest of talented and dynamic young students. Secondly, make the most out of an interview and choose the right candidate. As a startup, your time is valuable and you cannot spend so much time checking profiles in LinkedIn or a CV in order to look for a good candidate. Therefore, as for your interview, you have to plan ahead and look and think of what you are looking for and in what projects are you going to hire the interns to work on. Depending on this, you should consider both academic credentials, experience in a specific aspect, or think about the skills. It is usually similar important also to look for students who demonstrate enthusiasm, are easily they have coachability and good listening skills. It is similar important to demonstrate that they can take initiatives and work together with other people very well. Most importantly, look for students who could demonstrate a genuine interest in your company and in your industry. Send the candidates pre-reading materials of your company in order for them to study and read what are the projects you are working on. Or ask them to check your website, and then during the interview you could ask them if they have checked your company and if they have questions about your positions and your projects. Evaluate how much and how deeply they have considered all this information given. You could ask them this question: why would you like to work with us? How do you think you are going to be valuable for our company? What are you looking for? Explaining their motives and give you also information of what they would like to do while they will be working with you. Also, it is very important to consciously think of building a team and not hiring just a group of individuals. This is because many times people think that they have to hire the most talented person, in fact of grades. But it's very important also for you to think, how does the skills of this person or the experience or the ways of thinking matching with the existing employees? In order to have like-minded people working smoothly together, you could also invite your team members to join the interview. Based on my experience, once my supervisor said you cannot have two fire people working together. It will be too much fire in our company. Okay, you have hired someone, and now it's your priority to make them feel part of the team. From the day one, your interns to the last day, your interns belong to the team. So it's your responsibility to welcome them aboard and to make them feel part of the crew. Good tips to succeed in this role are kick off the internship with a welcome and orientation and welcome brief meeting. Do whatever else you can think to make the candidate feel part of the team and comfortable among your other team members. Make sure that all your team members are invited in this welcome meeting, and also your team members have time to introduce themselves. You may prepare and give a presentation of your company with much focus on your strategy, your mission, your vision, what are the projects you are working on, what are the ways of working together. In the next 2 or 3 days, the interns can spend some time meeting each member of your group in order to get acquainted with and understand well why are you all working together in similar common goals and how valuable is its position. Fourth, plan ahead for your interns. The better the experience you provide to your interns, the more value you will obtain for them in return. Therefore, you have to prepare way in advance the work assignments you are going to give them on. Outline the types of tasks, the skills and the projects you are working, and also it is very important that they have food in their plates. Meaning that it's nothing worse than an intern that has nothing to do. Also, similar, it is important for the students to understand why do they have to do the dirty work. Nobody likes to do just data entry. It's your responsibility to understand them why they have to do this data entry and why this is valuable for your team or for the success of your projects. They have to find a meaning in all the tasks you are providing. Another good advice would be to give challenging and meaningful tasks for them, at least one that they can work on during all the internship, and this can be very good because they will have something to demonstrate when they will end the internship. Next, let's move to expectations. In addition to a work welcome meeting, it is important to set also expectations. You should outline to your intern precisely what the intern will be responsible for, to describe how the team operates, and clearly specify also how his or her performance will be assessed. The interns will like to voice what or she would learn from this internship. You can also write all this and put it on a paper. Having the expectation written in a paper is a good way and the clearest way, let's say, to assess the progress. Then arrange weekly or bi-weekly meetings with your interns to review and stay on top of the expectation you established in the day one. Students will usually value your offer of getting answers or of getting constructive feedback on the way they are working. Usually we are reluctant when we do mistakes. And we are reluctant, we are very sorry when we do mistakes, and we are reluctant when we ask questions. Therefore, if you give time to your intern to have to ask questions and get a clear answer, he will for sure be profitable for both sides. However, you should also avoid very high expectations. Your intern cannot be your lead of software development. Having failed to find a real software developer, sometimes startups think, okay, I will hire an intern to do this job. However, students are not that proficient in doing such an important task. Usually, they would like to have a mentor to ask and learn from him. They are not ready to get such a big assignment. Usually, if you do this, you will end up either with a not finished, let's say, web page, or with an intern that would like to end his internship before the time that you both had arranged. Next advice is how to choose your mentor. Matching interns with a mentor is a very important factor in order for the internship to be a good and positive experience for both sides. Their mentor will be a referral person and serve as a resource to answer questions, to help interns smooth transition to working world for the first time. Take some time to think who could serve well as a right person and a right mentor for this particular intern. You can think on technical background, on experience, but also on their attitude, on their personality characteristics, and on their skills. As for the mentor, you may like to have also a gatekeeper. During your welcome meeting, you may have said to your team members that this intern can help them in different aspects of their work. So your team members would hear this and ask the intern to help them in different tasks. The gatekeeper will arrange if the intern has time to do so. The gatekeeper is the person responsible that the intern is not overloaded with too much work to do, and he can also check if he is focused in the assignments, in the project that he has been hired for. Okay, last but not least, let's move on the performance and task management. Internships are learning experience. Since it's crucial for your interns to have both positive and constructive feedback that can help them learn more about themselves as professionals, including what are their strengths, what are they doing well, or where they need to grow or improve. As stated above in the expectations, it is advisable that you have mid-term check discussions among interns and mentors, where they would like to discuss what they have learned or if he or she is getting the experience that he was hoping for. This helps also to solidify the mentor and internship relationship, and also underlying issues that they have to work on during the internship process. It is also helpful to have a performance management form that both intern and the mentor filling in, and this can be very helpful for both sides to have proofs of how valuable this internship was for the both sides. Also, you cannot have during a 4 months or a 6 month period to remember at the last day what you have working on. But if you have this management performance form and that you check and fill in regularly, you can see many things that the intern has worked on, and it was valuable for you. Last advice is don't treat your intern that has a part-time job as a full-time job. Avoid to give them solely responsibility for important tasks. Your interns cannot be your customer sale person or the one that is solely responsible for your data entry in your web page, because he might have midterm exams, he might have other responsibilities, and he would like to be absent, and your company will be left alone. Try to hire people that have time. They consider this intern as an important job, but don't overload them with so much to do, because this won't be a win-to-win experience for both sides. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Manolis Chatzigiannis. I work as a technology transfer consultant, and in the following few minutes we will discuss about the benefits and challenges that startups face during the hiring process of interns. The structure of the presentation is as follows. Firstly, we go broad by discussing the differences between working in a startup compared to an established company. Furthermore, we'll discuss about the hiring challenges that startups face. And the final slide, we will discuss about the benefits that startups receive as well as the interns from this relationship. So the differences between working in a startup compared to an established company may be the following. Mainly, the job environment is more autonomous. The organizational structure is much more flexible and informal. You will not be managed super closely by any supervisor, so you have to work on your own and work on several problems on your own. And the scope of work as well as your responsibilities may change very frequently. Following, regarding startup hiring challenges, they can be summarized in the following three. Startups lack many times the hiring resources. That means that they don't have an HR manager in-house. They don't have either the time or the knowledge to identify potential employees. So they have to excel in the full circle of the recruiting process, which is to create a great job posting at various social media and platforms. They have to follow best practices in advertising these job postings. They may use an employee referral program, and they have to have the right questions during the interview process. The second challenge that startups face during this hiring process is that they lack of an employer brand compared to established companies. That is, in order to overcome this obstacle, they have to create a candidate persona in order to identify the employee value proposition that they seek to and target the channels that these personas, these employees, interact with. And the final challenge that startups face are that due to lack of resources, mainly financial resources, they cannot offer the competitive package that existing companies can offer. So they have to offer through the previous mentioned personas. They have to identify the characteristics and needs and wants of potential employees in order to offer various other things like flexible working time, friendly environment, or things that are meaningful to these employees, as well as interns. Finally, regarding the benefits to the startup from this process, many times the startup gain fresh ideas from the interns. This internship period can act as a test bed for future employment positions and future employees. Usually interns are tech savvy because they are recent graduates, so they know the new social media trends or the new software highlights in the respective industry. maybe this process improves the company reputation in various campuses, so these interns can be advocates of the company in the campus. And many times you can pay less compared to the extra effort that these interns offer to the company through the internship process. Interns, through this process, accumulate knowledge about the industries that they have their internship to. They develop interpersonal skills as well as they expand their network, which is very essential for them during the internship period. Some final advices about this internship scheme is that for the startups is not to engage in the internship program if you are seeking for free labor, if you are too busy to mentor your intern, and if you don't have a specific and clear goal about this program. I hope that you gain some insights from this discussion. A final note about the presentation is that in order for the internship program to be beneficial to both parties, you have to have a specific goal when you engage in this relationship as a startup as well as an employee. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Anastasia Pafili and I have studied chemistry in Aristotle University of Thessaloniki. During my studies, I had the opportunity to participate in Erasmus program, and I got an internship at the State General Laboratory on Nicosia, Cyprus. My experience there was unforgettable. Living alone in a foreign country makes me feel out of my comfortable zone. I had to be adjusted in a multicultural community. Glad to me, my colleagues were so net and friendly. I made some really good friends that helped me to know their country and their culture. My colleague helped me not only to gain a worthy working experience, but also they became my family for 3 months. We had a really good time out of work. For example, we celebrate together New Year's Eve and we traveled around the country. They helped me to expand my personality, and now I believe that I'm able to experience new challenges and to deal with different situations that I have ever imagined before. In conclusion, my tip to a win-win situation between internship students and companies is not only to make them feel a part of the working team, but promote social networking as well. What I mean is to take them out for dinners, show them the city, organize fests and events like parties outside of the working environment. In many cases, make them feel like home.
Hello, my name is Stavros Papatzelos. I come from Greece, Larissa. At this moment, I am a final year student of Computer Science and Engineering in the University of Thessaloniki in Larissa. I also hold a master's degree in biochemistry. And in 2016 and 17, that is from October 2016 to March 2017, I conducted a 6-month internship under the framework of Erasmus placement program. And I conducted this internship at the Aarhus University at the Bioinformatics Research Institute. Because my personal plans for life is to become a researcher, to become a scientist. So for me, this was a very good environment for me to conduct an internship. But of course, if someone wants to learn more things about entrepreneurship and how a business works, maybe it would be a better choice to go and conduct an internship in a more industry environment or in a more business-like environment. And I think a startup is an excellent environment for an intern because he can have many opportunities to learn new things. he or she can wear many different hats, so he can learn things about project management maybe, or about programming if it is something that has to do with software development or computer programming. Maybe he can learn things about sales, about management, so he can have or she can have many different roles. From my experience, I can tell you, I can talk to you only about the academic environment. If you ask me if I would recommend you to do an internship in an academic environment or in a startup that in one way or another has a connection, a relationship with a research group, a university research group, an academic group, I can tell you that there may be some pros and cons about that. The pros are that many startups have to do with innovation, and innovation has to do with research. So if you have a connection with a research group, I think that would be a very good thing. But another thing you should have in mind is that when you are doing an internship, you should have a more dedicated mentor or person that will have the time to work with you, to cooperate with you, to show you around, or anyway to learn along with you. This maybe can be a problem in a research group because usually a group leader, a research group leader, is a professor who has many duties, who works on many projects, he has many students, he has to supervise from undergrad students to PhD students or even postdoc people, so he can be extremely busy and maybe he's not the ideal internship supervisor. Perhaps he could be a more ideal supervisor for a thesis project, but for an internship, I would recommend that you make sure before you start your internship, before you go to look for an internship abroad, to make sure that there will be at least one person, professor or student, more experienced or less experienced, that she will have the time and willingness to learn with you, to guide you during your internship, and have a very good relationship as well with you. And this is another point I would like to underline. When I did my internship in Aarhus, I didn't have any real-time contact with my supervisor in that research center. So now that we have this coronavirus crisis and we get more used to Skype, Zoom, and software tools like this for live video calls, I would very strongly recommend you that before you go to start a new internship, I would really recommend you to have a real-time contact with your prospective supervisor, or even better, with your prospective team with which you are going to collaborate and with which you are going to work during your internship. So to make sure that you have a very good communication and chemistry, if I can tell it this way, both with your prospective supervisor or supervisors, and with your prospective collaborators and the people who are going to cooperate with. This is my advice. I would very strongly recommend you to do an Erasmus placement internship, or anyway an internship outside of your home country, because this is a very delightful and interesting experience, and this forces you to go out of your comfort zone, as the saying goes, and I'm sure you will have the biggest profit out of this experience. So I wish you good luck with your search. Thank you.